Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for February 2nd, 2016. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. Roll call vote, please.
Cindy King?
Gordon Clark, present.
Carolyn Smart, present. Happy Groundhog Day. Did he see a shadow today? Does anybody know?
I do not know.
6 more weeks of winter, whatever, whichever. I don't know if he saw a shadow or not. I get confused.
I didn't get a chance to see it. Everybody join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to announce that the meeting is being video recorded, and there's a member of our audience that will also be recording it as well. Chairman's additions and deletions. There are two. There was a revised agenda posted yesterday. We added 4.1 and 4.2. 4.1 is the appointment to the position of treasurer-collector, and 4.2 is some appointments that Chief Mark Boynton has requested. And you did not have them before we originally posted the agenda.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. So with that, we'll move on to 3.1, review and approve a board proclamation for Eagle Scout Andrew Kimbar. Would you mind reading that into the...
Did you just read the proclamation?
Sure.
Proclamation. Whereas the Boy Scouts of America offers an environment and association which fosters good citizenship, honesty, integrity, and diligence in our younger people, and whereas the practical aspects of scouting provides training for our youth in survival, independence, and a sense of loyalty to our country, and whereas Andrew Kimbar joined Boy Scout Troop 10 of Townsend, Massachusetts in the year 2008, has earned 25 merit badges, and has served in multiple troop leadership positions: patrol leader, assistant patrol leader, quartermaster, and Order of the Arrow representative, has risen to his current rank of Eagle Scout. And whereas Andrew Kimbar has, as his Eagle Scout project, led a team of scouts and other adult volunteers in the fundraising for and construction of a wheelchair ramp on the home of a member of the Townsend Ashby Pepperell Youth Basketball Organization who had been diagnosed with ALS. Whereas Andrew Kimbar is presently attending his senior year at North Middlesex Regional High School, and whereas the approach to and attainment of the Eagle rank is lengthy, detailed, and difficult, and requires intelligence, tenacity, determination, and a highly motivated desire to succeed. Now, therefore, we, Carolyn Smart, Gordon Clark, and Cindy King, Selectmen of the Town of Townsend, Middlesex County, in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim today, which will be February 6, 2016, as Andrew Kimbar Day. In the Town of Townsend, we urge all citizens, together with their family and friends, to join us in honoring the Boy Scouts of America and saluting Andrew for his achievement.
So Andrew actually used the scrap wood that we declared surplus, right, for that project?
I do not believe so.
I believe from the annex and from the ramps for our temporary fire station.
Yeah.
So one, he drews all the credit in the world here is that he helped out one of our citizens, but less important than that actually is that all that was recycled for a good purpose.
Yeah.
So the people's...
really worked out well.
So it's a great deal for everyone, so very proud of him.
Andrew's Eagle Scout ceremony is this Sunday at the Congo Church. Do I have any volunteers to go and read?
I'm unable.
What time is it, do you know?
I think it's at 2.
I have to go. I have to look.
All right, I will check back with the town administrator, Jody. All right,
All
if I'm available, I will definitely try to do it for him.
All right, if you're not available, let me know, because I'll make sure one of us is
Okay.
there. Make sure I'm there.
I'll let you know tomorrow.
And congratulations, Andrew. Thank you. So we can go ahead and sign that. Give it back to Jody. It is fun. I just went to one a month or so ago.
Oh, thank you.
Quite an achievement.
I sort of actually miss reading these.
Do you really?
No.
Did you hear us?
Was that?
He misses reading.
Oh!
No, so you can
We
keep it.
You can take care of that. All right. Agenda item 3.2, Ms. Karen Hill, request for public record update. Votes may be taken.
Madam Chair, we did receive a phone call. Ms. Hill is not able to make it this evening, but does request to be scheduled for the next board meeting.
Okay. So do you want a motion to table it to the next meeting?
Please.
I'll make a motion that we table item 3.2, Karen Hill, for our next scheduled meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3.3, review request of John B. Barrett for vote of special municipal employee status.
Madam Chair.
Please.
John serves, as you can see from his letter, as a Cemetery and Park Commissioner and Moderator. He indicates in his letter that the prior moderator had such a designation in the town, as did he when he first started, but those records aren't able to be located. So he's just looking for clarity to have that revoted this evening. So if it please the board, just a motion to vote the positions, not the person, but the positions, Cemetery and Park Commissioner and Moderator, as special municipal exempt employees in the town of Townsend.
I make a motion
Go ahead.
to designate the positions Moderator and Cemetery Park Commissioner special employees.
Second.
Special municipal employees.
Special municipal.
Any discussion, any questions? Guess it was past practice. So.
Was.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4.1, appointment to the position of treasurer-collector.
Madam Chair, as earlier reported, the group interviewing the candidates for the vacant treasurer-collector position, that was the town accountant Terry Walsh, the town chief assessor Vicki Tidman, the consulting treasurer-collector Suzanne Marchand, select board member Cindy King, and me, have narrowed the candidate pool down to our unanimous choice of Ms. Barbara Tierney, whose resume is available this evening. Jody has a copy. The request was, this request was not on the original posting and report for the meeting, as I had not yet confirmed details with Ms. Tierney regarding this issue, as she was on vacation until just today. I have now confirmed her interest and would hate to lose a 2-week period waiting to address her appointment until your next meeting. Accordingly, the committee would greatly appreciate your consideration this evening under board action requested, if it would please the board, to vote the following motion. And it would read, I move to appoint Barbara Tierney to the position of Collector Treasurer in the town of Townsend, subject to the town administrator finalizing terms and conditions of such agreement within the available appropriation, and subject to pre-employment physical and a 6-month probationary period.
I move to appoint Ms. Barbara Tierney to the position of Collector Treasurer in the town of Townsend, subject to the town administrator finalizing terms and conditions of such an agreement within the available appropriation.
Second.
And this also subject to the successful passage of a pre-employment physical and a 6-month probationary period.
Second.
So any discussion on the appointment?
Madam Chairman, I'd just like to thank Cindy and our town administrator for all the work they've done to fill this extremely important position in the town, and I personally would like to thank you for that, both of you.
I share those sentiments as well, but I also wanted to thank Suzanne as well. We hired her as a contractor, right? A vendor contractor who is helping us try and sort a lot of the issues that are going on down there, and she's been really nice to work with, and she's working very hard. Do you have an idea of when the transition might happen?
Yes, just a little bit of background for those that aren't privy to the information. Ms. Tierney is currently working in the Treasurer Collector's office in the town of Groton, and she has a 2-week notice that she would need to give to the town of Groton, but she is going to be approaching her superiors about working part-time in each location so she can wrap up there and ramp up here, so we can have the benefit of her time sooner. And Terry is going to be, the town accountant's going to be away next week, but Suzanne is ready for her as soon as next Monday to come in and start, so she'll be prepped and ready to hit the ground running, we hope, next week.
Sure, Mr. Hartnett's not happy, but we thank him for sitting.
He has done an outstanding job of preparing her.
Yes.
I mean, when you talk about succession planning in an organization, he's done a really nice job, because she came into Cindy can speak to it, she came into the meeting very well prepared, and she had not only read but thoroughly analyzed the books. She had a lot of very insightful questions. I'm embarrassed to say I didn't have a clue how to answer, because she did more research on it than in my short tenure I had a chance to. But I think she's going to be a really good fit. She seems very energetic, very poised, I think she's going to be a good fit.
Great job, seriously, great job.
Everyone's trained under Mr. Hartnett. I have a lot of trust and faith.
Absolutely.
He's wonderful.
And Madam Chair, one final point is, presuming that I'm able to come to terms with her, at your next meeting, I'd like your permission to bring her in and have her be able to, say hello to you, have the community see her just before she gets buried in paper, which will happen shortly. Just let her have a moment in front of you.
Madam Chairman, I think that's an excellent idea, and also to let our community know the type of people we're bringing in to help us, so I think that's a great idea.
No, that's
Good job,
great.
Jim.
Do you think free cash will be certified before she starts?
No, I don't.
No.
Oh.
So we're
I don't.
still...
They're still working it. They're still working it.
All right, well, all in favor? We didn't vote yet.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And welcome aboard. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. Stole my agenda over here. 4.2, review and approve Fire EMS Chief Mark Boynton's request to appoint the following individuals for a term effective February 2nd, 2016 to June 30th, 2016. Jay Lucier, 70 Meadow Drive, on-call firefighter per diem paramedic. Laura Moreau, Manville, Rhode Island, per diem paramedic. And Jennifer Park, Drake-it, per diem paramedic.
Second?
Well, no motion. Here, you want that?
I move to appoint Mr. Jay Lucier to the position of on-call firefighter and per diem paramedic, and Ms. Laura Moreau and Ms. Jennifer Park to the position of per diem paramedic in the town of Townsend, subject to successful passage of pre-employment physical and a 6-month probationary period.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm glad Chief Boynton's able to get some people in those
Absolutely.
positions. You can
Sure.
keep that one. I got an extra. All right. So we're down to our work session, 5.1, Town Administrators Updates and Reports.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Under Personal Updates, Section 1 on the report in your packets, Public Works Study, Department of Revenue, Division of Local Services, DLS. We have received the report from DLS, which is enclosed in your packets, and it's available for the public if they'd like to see, with their assessment and recommendations regarding consolidating all public work functions into one structure. Under board action requested, none at this time, as the DPW Study Committee is undertaking a review of the document and will be planning next steps after that document review. Short story is, as you all know, we have a variety of public works functions. Total budgetary impact is $2.6 million. And we have elected boards and commissions, and we have appointed department supervisors. And what this report looks at is that the best management and operational structure and the best use in terms of the economics of the town's resources. The conclusion, spoiler alert, the conclusion at the end is that there should be a consolidated public works department. Obviously, that's a town decision, a voter's decision at a town meeting. Would require a charter change, so it's not a quick or easy process, but the report serves as, I think, some pretty interesting information to start that conversation more in earnest.
And just for Cindy, because I know you weren't on the board then, we had actually signed up, last July, August, I think it was.
When I came back from the meeting, she went
To have DOR come out and do the study for us, and then shortly thereafter we formed the DPW Study Committee, and the thought process was for them to work together, and they have on some regards, but really DOR was pulling financials.
Madam Chairman?
Please.
And also, the benefit of this, the town administrator you can speak to, is that we got a totally independent, skilled survey or study done for us at no cost to the town.
Yep.
And I believe that we still have 3 compacts coming from the state. So that's 4 thorough, independent cost savings to our town. So I think it's going to give us a guide how to run the town better. So for everyone's involved, and to the Lieutenant Governor who came out here and helped us, we're very indebted to them.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big fan of the Baker Compact programs. And speaking of that, do we have a consulting contractor? We really need to.
Do not as of yet. I hope at your next meeting to have that update for you.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thank you for that, Jim.
Okay. Moving next to B, Montechusett Metropolitan Planning Organization. It's come time for the MMPO to select representatives for the towns within the region to represent them at regular MPO meetings. This involves the selection of 4 representatives and 4 alternates for the 4 MPO subregions. These subregions are defined as Subregion 1, Athol, Hubbardston, Petersham, Phillipston, Royalston, Templeton, Winchendon; 2, Ashburnham, Ashby, Groton, Townsend, Westminster; 3, Air Harbor, Lunenburg, Shirley; 4, Clinton, Lancaster, Sterling. Attached, please find a brief presentation that highlights the roles and responsibilities of the MPO and its signatory members. In brief, the selection process is as follows. 1, a town selectman volunteers to serve as a sub-region rep. Names of volunteers are submitted to MRPC, the Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission. By February 26th, MRPC organizes a mutually convenient time and location for a dinner meeting where volunteers decide amongst themselves who will be the respective sub-region reps and who will serve as an alternate, and reps can then identify individuals to serve as their designee. So the cheat sheet on that is one of you will either be tabbed by the other 2 or one will volunteer, go to the meeting, and then if you get selected to be one of the region reps, your choice is to either go to the meetings when they happen, at least quarterly, or have someone like me go on your behalf. So just because you get hooked tonight doesn't mean you're going to get hooked by the group, and even if you get hooked by the group, you can still hook me. So there you go.
It's actually a very important thing to advocate for us. Highway representative,
Yes, Madam Chairman.
what do you think?
Is that an indication you would like me to take this, you and Cindy?
Ordinarily, it is the highway.
There's a blank in the draft motion. Under board action requested, if it would please the board to vote a motion, I move that the name blank be submitted to MRPC as our chosen sub-region representative.
Are you interested in that at all?
Only if Mr. Clark is not.
Well, it's between you 2.
Do you have strong interest in it, or are you just being nice?
I'm being nice.
Okay,
No, but I
so-
mean, I'll do it.
Well, I'll do it then, yeah, unless you have... And the thing is, that I think everyone knows
I've
the
got other
town...
projects, so...
Is that the highway and the salt and all that, it's sort of been my latest passion, so I'd be glad to step up and do that. Okay? So,
Then, I move that the name Gordon Clark be submitted to MRPC as our chosen sub-region representative.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you for volunteering me.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Madam Chair, subsection C, retiree life insurance policy. The matter is being reviewed under appeal with the insurer. Our research has demonstrated that the individual has paid markedly more into the insurance company over the life of the policy than he or she would receive as a benefit payout, and this fact is getting us some traction. As a side note to that, there is an insurance consultant that I'm familiar with who has some relationships with Mutual of Omaha, and they're reaching in back channel as well to say this doesn't make any sense because of our oversight and our inability to pay a bill. This guy who's had a policy for 22 years is being denied. And oh, by the way, it's a $20,000 policy and he's paid $36,000 into it over the life of the policy. So my belief is it's going to work
Retired
out.
now, right?
He is retired.
Yeah, so he'd been here his whole life.
Yeah. My belief is it's going to work out, and my hope is that by your next meeting, I'll have that response for you.
Thank
Now,
you.
what about the other policy that may have been canceled as well?
That one, the individual, my understanding is that that individual wasn't that vested into it. It was a short money thing, and that's not going to be something being pursued.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about that one, just the
This
retiring.
one is big.
Okay. Thank you.
Would this be a matter of reinstating it?
It would.
And that they continue to pay into it?
Yes, we would pay what's owed, because we've been having
took
that
the money,
taken.
yeah.
Right, we've been having that taken from the gentleman's retirement. We would pay the past due, and it would be reinstated going forward.
Well, that's positive development. We didn't think they would work with us on that, so
We'll see. It's not done yet.
no, done deal.
Subsection D, Communication Supervisor. As earlier reported and agreed upon by the board, we have the need for an interim 30-day-at-a-time appointment to fill the Communications IT position in the Police Department. After the requisite posting and a more proactive solicitation outreach, we have received an application from a Mr. Stephen Kuchar of Westminster, Mass. Resume enclosed. Mr. Kuchar comes to us with not only a strong dispatch supervisory history, but also a very strong police and fire IT background. Better yet, his public safety software and hardware experience mirrors that which we run here in Townsend. In an effort at full disclosure, both Interim Chief Barrio and I worked with Mr. Kuchar in the city of Gardner. In that regard, we both know exactly what he's capable of accomplishing for us on a short-term assignment. If it's the pleasure of the board, under requested action, a move to appoint Mr. Stephen Kuchar to the position of Communications Supervisor/IT in the Townsend Police Department under the terms of a rolling 30-day agreement, subject to the town administrator finalizing terms and conditions of such an agreement within available appropriation.
So he's agreeable to the 30-day rolling appointment
Yes.
until you...
He is. He's in the process of retiring from a career in public service and would be willing to do this. The way this works is, I begged Rock to be considered, and Rock has begged him
That's how it
to be
works.
considered.
Yep.
So I think for what we need right now, short term, it'll get us where we need to be with some of the technology issues, some of the supervisory issues, but it won't marry us to anything long term. So when a new chief comes in, they have the ability to survey the field and place the pieces and the resources where they think it's most appropriate.
And we're really grateful. That's a tough spot to fill on a 30-day rolling.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Good job.
especially with a talented young man. Now, just before we appoint him, what about the lightning strike over there? Has that been resolved?
The equipment has been ordered. This, for those following along, this is back October 31st. There was a lightning strike, and it took out several components of our access system. So the key fobs that you would be able to utilize to get access into various sections of the department. That was never apparently brought to... Apologize. That was never brought to anybody's attention. Rock found out about it, found out that it's been something that's just been left unattended. So the parts are ordered, the replacement stuff's ordered. It'll be an upgraded system. We do have a claim pending with the insurance company, but we weren't going to wait because it needs to be done.
Yeah, it has to be done. So our insurance company is open even though the claim was submitted 3 months later?
It's when the chief knew about it.
Okay, good. That'll help because I know that's probably going to be costly.
It'll come in under 10 grand, which is, I mean, that's not inexpensive, but compared to the impact of not having an operational,
And what's our deductible, 1,000?
1,000.
That'll help them anyway. So I'd entertain a motion? Yep.
I move to appoint Mr. Stephen
Kuchar.
Kuchar to the position of Communications Supervisor IT in the Townsend Police Department under the terms of a rolling 30-day agreement, subject to the town administrator finalizing terms and conditions of such an agreement within the available appropriation.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Madam Chairman?
Please, Gordon.
If I just have a second, I just would like to commend the town administrator, the fire chief, the police chief, and our facilities manager, and any of the staff that work with them. They had a very difficult situation to handle, what was going on with our communication. There was no who didn't do this, and a lot of it wasn't their job assignment. In the last couple of weeks, they really, have stabilized the situation. So I think they should be commended. And I don't know the staff members that have them, so I apologize for that. But I know those 4 people were key in stepping up hugely and taking care of a situation that could have been dangerous for our community. So I think those 4 should be commended. So thank you.
No, I agree. I really appreciate it. Town appreciates it.
Excellent. Subsection E, Police Chief Screening Committee. The committee met again earlier today in a posted meeting with 7-member citizen team to interview the remaining 3 candidates for the position of Chief of Police. Please see the enclosed packet of information detailing that process. I will have an update for you with additional details at the meeting. Here we are at the meeting. We met today in this room. We had the committee that you put together, which is chaired by Chief Ryder, the chief in the town of Boxborough, Chief Boynton, our fire chief, and myself. And this phase of the process that we had today was the citizen input phase. So we had 7 members of the public that had expressed an interest in participating. Came in, sat around this table. The candidates sat here. Chief Ryder, coordinating the process, sat off to the side here. Chief Boynton and I sat in the background and let the process play out. And I know that there are several people in the audience tonight that are members of the committee. I would defer to them speaking to the issue of how they thought it went. My perspective as an outsider watching was that the candidates were well prepared. The candidates were quality candidates. One far and away rose above the others, head and shoulders above the others. And at the end of the day, that was the unanimous position of not only the 7-member citizen committee, but the 3-member police chief search committee. Toward that end, the contract that was negotiated with BadgeQuest, I think wisely had in its structure almost an a la carte menu from which the town could choose. The assessment center portion, which would be scheduled to go off this coming Friday, had an $11,000 price tag, best memory.
68
I think it was more than that,
for
but
the assessment. It was the recruiting, I think that was, I could be wrong, but I think it was
Yeah.
the recruiting that was...
yeah. So it was between 68 and 11.
The 11 was the assessment, and the, was $8,000, and the other part of it was the background check, that was $3,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it came to about 11.
Okay. So the consensus of the Citizen Committee, as well as the Police Chief Search Committee, is that the assessment center not be pursued. That given the fact that there is one candidate that everybody felt far and away was the only candidate worthy of further consideration. While the other two were quality, this one was, again, head and shoulders above. That going through the assessment process at that expense for one candidate did not make sense, either operationally, procedurally, or obviously fiscally. Instead, what will occur is the subcommittee, the screening committee, and one member representing the citizens. That'll be Kim Craven, who has as her experience public safety background where she does police assessments, department assessments, and recruitments professionally. That four. So it'll be Chief Ryder, Chief Boynton, Ms. Craven, and myself. We'll meet with the candidate this Friday in lieu of the assessment center and go through a little bit more rigorous interview process. If that goes well and everybody feels good about that, it would be the expectation that a tentative offer would be made conditioned upon an interview with the Select Board and that candidate meeting your satisfaction, with the clear understanding that them being put forward as the sole candidate doesn't mean that they've got a lock on this deal, that if you're not happy, we reboot. And that was again discussed at the committee level today, that that's a real possibility. And instead of going deeper into the pool and giving you candidates that we don't think are a good fit, because it's a very important position, particularly in today's environment in the town of Townsend, that we didn't want to risk putting somebody or a couple of people up to you that really weren't going to be the fit that we need right now. So, in short, great day, good community participation, excellent candidate. We'll drill down a little bit more this Friday, and if it looks like that's still the case at the end of Friday, we'd likely at your next meeting be putting one candidate up for your consideration, and it's your pleasure at that point as to whether or not you think that it's a good fit. But my gut on it is having a sense of the three of you, and even though you're not participating in the process, in 6 weeks having kind of gotten a sense for where you are, what you think, and who might be in the community that might share some of your thoughts. It was an interesting group around the table because I think each of the three of you would feel comfortable that somebody in the room could be thinking along the same lines as you, if not, a good number of them. So the fact that there was a unanimous vote, I think is unusual and outstanding, because you each, I think, could go home this evening feeling comfortable that you were represented, indirectly of course, but represented nonetheless in the process today. So with that, do you have any thoughts or concerns?
It's sort of news to me, so I'm digesting it here, but what I do like is that the town administrator has thought out the process that will go forward here, and that it makes sense to me, but if it is not the right person, we have the ability to reboot, like you said, and I'm hoping that that's not the case. And I believe, listening to him and the expertise of the people involved, including Mr. Pomeroy and the screening committee and the citizens, that it's highly likely that we're probably going to be impressed by this person. But I like the fact that we have a safeguard just in case it isn't. So I commend everyone involved who's done a lot of work on this here. And I think it's probably one of the most important decisions that will be made in the next couple of years here, because it affects everyone in this town. So I'm good with it, as proposed by the town administrator. And again, I want to thank everybody who's put so much hard work into this. And I think it's a great investment for the future of this town.
So, as I've said previously, the Selectmen didn't want to have any part of the process. So if this is something that the screening committee feels is the right direction. I have trust in that. If we don't have to spend 68 or 80,000 or whatever it is.
Can we just be identified, Madam Chairman?
Oh,
Just-
yeah, that's all right. Lori, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I was going to say that if, with your permission.
Yes, absolutely.
The cost of the assessment was $6,800.
Okay.
And it was optional.
Yeah.
And then the background check, which was still recommended to do, but not by batch cost, was $3,000.
Yeah, that's what, it was broken down into what services we wanted to utilize.
Correct.
So I agree, Jim. I agree, Jim, that if there's one candidate that everybody liked, there's not a lot of point in sending them through the assessment center, because what I understood the assessment center to be is to kind of give us 1, 2, 3.
Absolutely.
There's one. So,
And just,
I'm sorry, Steve, go ahead.
and
Steve was on the committee as well, so just...
yeah, and first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Carter, who, wanted the public input, and put the, and he got the letters and decided who was going to be on the committee, and it was a great, I think, experience for everybody sitting around that table. It was extremely well structured. The candidates were very open, very honest. A lot of them did have a passion to come to Townsend, but again, this one candidate really stood out amongst the three. What I think we kind of found a diamond in the rough here, we are kind of, I guess, to feel good about, is that you had Kim Craven on this committee. And, where Batch Quest had, there was that second process for Batch Quest, and this is the only reason we kind of came to this kind of conclusion here, for the second, basically a second interview and having one member of the Citizens Committee on it, which would be her, is because she does this every day, and then she came well prepared, and with a lot of great questions, a lot of great follow-up questions. So you're almost getting that through her, and for free. And so that's, but it was great, and I just want to thank, the town administrator for allowing this process to go the way it did, because it was a good day, I think, for the town.
I'm glad you were involved. Yes, I talked to Kim, kind of grew up with her, but she's
Sure.
been involved in public safety consulting for a long time, and I was really happy she came forward to assist in the process.
She knows a lot of people. I mean, there was the one thing I was impressed with, her knowledge of the law enforcement community and the amount of people she knows, and even the respect she has in that community.
Absolutely. So if everyone's happy with that, I have got no issues, and we can save some money on the assessment center. It's a good day. The background check, we did not decide. I think what we signed, or we sent a notice to proceed, is up to the max amount. Did you guys discuss whether we wanted to do I think we can handle a background check ourselves with
We do
Rock and...
have offers from parties that are certified and capable
Okay.
to do it, that are offering to do it gratis.
Okay, good.
So
that works out. That's even more. Great. Anybody have any questions?
Great job.
Thanks for participating. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
excellent. Moving along, item 2, financial updates, fiscal 16 budget. At the joint meeting of the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen last week, I recommended that a working group get together to begin to address 16's budget. Over the course of the discussion that evening, I now realize that the description of the group morphed from a discussion of a working group to a subcommittee. I apologize for this confusion, as it was not my intent to see a subcommittee created, but rather to have a small working group of a member of each, the Select Board, Finance Committee, and Town Hall staff, roll up sleeves and address an acute issue. This would be no different than the working group the town has used in the past to work on revenue projections and perhaps other budgetary matters. So please allow me to clarify. I will be working with the finance team members beginning earnest this week to address 16, and I would love it if a member of the Board of Selectmen and/or a member of the Finance Committee would sit in to offer me their guidance and perspective. Now, I've met with the chair of the Finance Committee. He did advise me that at the Finance Committee meeting after the joint meeting that there was some concern that if this was a formal subcommittee, that under the open meeting law it might represent a problem if we're meeting as a closed-door working group. So they begged off that night at their meeting. He has since advised that he's going to be asking, if not informing, asking his committee that he be given leave to attend as a member. So we'll just be a member of the Finance Committee sitting in with the finance staff giving guidance. And I think there's value, again, if a member of the Board of Selectmen can can step in and play that role as well. No obligation, but it'd be great if you could.
Yeah, actually, I had spoke with Jim earlier, and last year, you recall, you were on as the chairman of the Finance Committee and the chairman of the Board of Selectmen and the Finance team, and that worked really well, and people really liked that, because I think as part of not only looking at 16, we need to fast forward revenue projections, because our budgets are coming in, and we haven't even accomplished that. So, to me, I'd like to see this become both, and to finish the work that the... I think that there was a lot of compliments last year on having the two chairs and the finance team do that, and I think it worked well. Good?
Great.
All right.
17 budget. Governor Baker released his fiscal 17 state budget last week. The budget known as House 1 is the first in a series of steps that will culminate in the passage of a state budget for fiscal year 17. While it's still early in the process and while everything is subject to change, at this point in time the general government state aid, see the attached spreadsheet, is slated to increase by roughly $50,000 over last year's allocation for us. I expect that the fiscal year 17 budget is going to be an incredibly difficult budget year, and I will be seeking the same level of assistance from the Select Board and Finance Committee for 17 as discussed just above for 16. To the Chair's point, we are well behind the 8 ball here. I've not been around your process, so I'm not certain that you'd be eyeball deep in 17 now, or if you're later than that, but I'm used to being eyeball deep in it by now. So the fact that we haven't rectified 16's problems, we've not yet closed 15, is clearly getting in the way of being able to move forward on 17. My hope, my belief is with Ms. Tierney coming on and her having some overlap with Suzanne, that they'll be able to wrap things up, get with Terry, get 15 buttoned up. 16, we've got, as I said at the last meeting, the joint meeting, we've got a pinch on several items where I think we'll be able to reserve funds for consideration at a town meeting in the spring, if not sooner, to make transfers at town meeting to cover places that are light right now. So that just leaves us 17 when we really get down to it. So my hope is that, again, I can get a member of the Select Board and a member of the FinCom to meet with the Finance team, because we're running late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to ideally get back into a schedule where you start this process in December.
Absolutely.
The other thing I was hoping, if you could get us an update for the next meeting, exactly where we are in 15. Because
my hope would be to have the treasurer collector consultant, the treasurer collector appointee, and the town accountant into that meeting, to be able to give you that perspective, not just on 15, where we look at 16, and some at least rudimentary projections on 17.
That would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Under project updates, I have none. Under miscellaneous updates, I have none.
All right, 5.2, Board of Selectmen announcements, updates, and reports. Do you have anything,
I
Cindy?
do. On Monday evening, I attended the Energy Committee's meeting, and they've been trying to, they're seriously talking about they want to get a master plan for energy use, and the conversation is still going also either to do an independent master plan or to include it as part of a change of the charter as opposed to a separate master plan. But they were looking for the ability for departments to have a representative to attend meetings in order to come up with that plan. Certainly as a liaison for the Energy Committee, I'll continue to work with them on to move through
great.
that.
Thank you.
And possibly, maybe at our next meeting, if we can, I didn't get it to the agenda soon enough to get it for tonight, but on our next scheduled meeting, if we could, I'll have something to present for.
So you want us to actually point you to it. Now, do we have to form this as a committee?
As it stands right now,
You are liaison too.
I'll be the liaison,
Yeah.
and I don't, in my opinion, I don't have to change anything at this point. But for our next meeting, I'll have a more
Okay. That's what I was asking. Do we
Clear.
actually have to form this committee and appoint people to
I
it,
don't-
or is
I
it
don't
more of
believe
a
so.
working group
Yeah,
type
I mean,
of-
the Energy Committee exists already, and they're just they're going to continue their work. I think Cindy, as a liaison, makes perfect sense. It doesn't require anything to be changed. I think the one thing that I'll comment on is they have an interest, according to Cindy sharing with me, they have an interest in department heads being made available to them so they can work on what issues each department has, where you use your energy, what can be done to make retrofits or to streamline energy issues. So as a part of the master plan, everybody's represented. They can't intuit what those things are, so they would need access to the department heads. And I would work with Cindy as a liaison to make certain the department heads got in queue for that process.
And their goal is to have this completed, and so for town meeting in 17.
Great.
Not this coming town meeting, but
The following.
the next year, so, because things take long to get started on it, but I'll have some more information for next.
Do you know if they've extended our ability to meet the 20%?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure, because that's due to...
Right. We could
We could lose our
perhaps
green
They're working on it.
communities.
we could perhaps ask Brent to come in
Okay.
as a part of your presentation at the next meeting.
Sure.
I'm sure he'd be able to answer that.
Yeah. One of the, last year, one of the things that we had discussed was putting a fuel consumption policy in place to help that. That kind of didn't go anywhere, so I don't know.
I know that some of the
Revisit
grants
that.
that they have, I'm not sure what grant is called what, but they've funded a lot, the windows and a lot of the energy requirements for the annex, so.
Right.
Yeah, we got a green, when we got designated as green communities, I don't know, it was 150, maybe it was more than that, and that's the money you got to invest into your properties to meet your 20%, but we weren't close to that. I think we were at 8% the last update we had, but Karen had thought maybe they were going to extend the deadline out, and she was going to look at maybe involving the school, being able to involve the schools, because we're not really big enough to find 20%.
And concern was also that we've added the annex. as
So
a-
you're
an
making it
operating-
more efficient, but it
We've
didn't
had-
used to cost anything.
We're going to increase costs because we're actually
Yeah.
adding a
So it's gonna
building
make
that
ours
was on
go
our
down.
inventory, that was on minimal energy,
So it's like a
is
false
now going to have a
positive.
bill.
It's like a false
So-
positive.
Yeah.
They're looking at that too, so.
All right,
Work in
great.
progress.
We'll look forward to it. Anything else?
Oh, yes, and Jim and I went to the MMA, and I went to a number of workshops. I'm not quite sure which ones Jim went to. I went to one on economic, not recovery,
Development for small
development, that's
towns.
one, for small towns, which was enlightening. They didn't have any handouts with that one, but it was, they talked a lot about some of the Western Mass towns that have really been able to bring in tourism, and had some good ideas and things that we might want to look at, directions that we could go. But I also went to a workshop that was very important to me, which is opiate, how some of the things that we can do for opiate, helping with the opiate problem. And that handout from MMA was provided as well. And there's a number of ideas, including part of the recommendations is to put something on towns' websites regarding the resources that are available. And in the packet, do you have one of those?
No, I don't, but I'll make sure I get one.
Yeah, they sent them all to us, too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cindy, very much for that.
But in there it gives a number of recommendations, but one thing I want to work, which I want to work on for my practice anyway, is a resource list to put on our website, or just to have available as handouts, with a number from everything from Narcotics Anonymous to places that people can go, families, organizations can go for information on where to get assistance in treatment, and hopefully that we can move forward with working with the police department. It's been such an upheaval that hopefully we can, as a town, get moving on making sure we have resources for our...
I have an update under my updates that you're going to enjoy
Okay,
on that,
good,
then.
good. So I'm working on a resource list, so...
Hold on.
I
I
will.
got some information
Okay,
for you.
good.
Are you done? Anything?
I'm done.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Just two quick little things. One, I'd like to thank Cindy. You know, it's bring back a little humor here, you know, we can work together in place, so thank you for thanking us when you came back.
I think we should play them.
Okay, well,
Calm down now.
good advice. Mr. Barrett's here, Madam Chairman. Should we let him know that his matters are all been taken care of?
Yeah, we've already voted your special.
All right, thank you.
Just out of
You're very
courtey
welcome.
to you, that's all.
That's nice.
Yeah, you're still
you're-
special.
Around, but no, thank you.
Well, thank you for everything you do for our town. Thank you.
No, thank you.
So, just on a little personal thing here, is that, as many of you may know, I taught in many police academies, a lot of people don't know that, and I was a commencement speaker for the 37th, the 45th, and I represented 3,000 officers picked by the chiefs in Southern Mass at the 60th graduation. And the reason I'm saying that is that I wasn't able to attend Officer Mike Martian's graduation. I'm the newest member of the department, and I've known Mike, or Officer Martian, since he was a child. And he's what about small towns are about, and his mother and father, who everyone in town knows, the friendliest officer in the world, his dad, Jim. They're all about how if you're a good parent, that you dream about raising a child like they did. And so this is from the heart, but also from the community, is that we're so fortunate, as Jimmy will be enjoying his retirement, I hope, when he decides in the next couple of years, that the tradition continues of a family who gives so much to our town. And I mean that from my heart. So, to the Martian family, thank you.
You graduated last week, didn't you?
I think a couple weeks ago. I was going to go, but I couldn't make it, and I felt terrible.
Yeah, that's great. Anything
That's
else,
all I have.
Gordon?
No, that's plenty good news for me. Thank you.
So, to your opiate point, I know at the last, under updates and reports, I had talked about bringing the community leaders, and I have been in touch with Father Jeremy, Pastor Mark at the Congo Church. I'm waiting, Reverend Mark, Pastor Kevin's supposed to be in touch with me, VFW. Everybody's on board, and I know you were going to talk to Joan. But I found out today, which none of us were aware of, Pepperell has had this up and going for a while. And they asked Townsend to be a part of it.
They did, okay.
And we were all unaware of it.
Oh.
So I'm planning on going to the next meeting. They've done a lot of work. They've been working at it for 6 months, but they have a resource list. So I don't know if you want to go. I will definitely have Jim let you know when the next meeting is. We can sit in on it and maybe reach out to them. I was going to call, is it Chief Davis in Pepperell? Is that?
No, he's retired. It's Chief Scott.
Chief Scott in Pepperell has really organized it, so if we can touch base with him and see if we can jump on board. I'm thinking maybe the transition from Chief Marshal and Chief, maybe it got lost somehow, but I think Townsend would very much want to be a part of that, so they might have your resource list altogether.
Great.
So, let's see, what else do I have? All right, so we covered revenue projections. I was going to ask about budget hearings, but I guess I can be part of the work team as well.
Absolutely.
If we want to start, scheduling those. I understand our interim chief of police went down to the Townsend Rod and Gun Club last night.
He did last night, yes, and
it
he
was
returned
great.
safely.
People were very happy that he reached out, and I just wanted to thank him for that. The only other thing that I had is Jody asked me before the meeting that we approved some meeting minutes because she needs them for the grant development, and it wasn't posted because it was last minute, but I believe we can approve
Yes.
those too.
Yep.
Madam Chairman, some won't be released, though, of those.
Yeah.
This is an open
Regular.
session. Yeah, this is an open session, so it'll be released.
No, there was on...
The others were executive, they
Yeah.
wouldn't be.
All right, that's all. I just
Yeah,
wanted
so
to-
she had sent
Thank
us December 8th, 2015 regular meeting minutes, December 10th, 2015 regular meeting minutes, and January 19th, 2015 regular meeting minutes. And I had no issues. Ordinarily, we'd put them on the agenda, but like I said, she needs it for the grant application, so is it all right to make a motion to approve?
Absolutely,
those?
and there were two minor points that I had. I'm not certain that you've seen them yet, but I did talk to Jody about one of them. The second escaped me when I was with her, but I've since remembered. So there'd be two minor. They won't change the substance of anything.
Okay.
They're more ministerial, but we
Yeah,
just wanted to make you aware of that.
Thank you.
So, entertain a motion, if you can read my writing.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes and release these, right?
Yes.
The meeting minutes of section,
Nope.
Nope,
Just
sorry.
not the executive, just the regular.
the regular meetings from 12/8, 15, 12/10, 12, is it
12:10.
the 10th? Oh, that's right, we had two in 1 week. 12/10, 15, and January 19th.
Second.
16.
Sorry.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Jody, I almost forgot. It's a good thing I wrote it down under updates and reports. And let's see, I don't have a backside to our agenda. Is there anything else?
That's it.
That's it.
It's just
Okay.
review and sign payroll bills. Make a motion. Review and sign payroll bills payable warrants out of session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn the Selectmen's meeting at 6:49 PM.
Oh, second, sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye. We're going to change it up so we have a little fun. Good night, folks. Thank you.